Welcome back to this channel. So in today's class, we want to discuss the graph of polynomials. The shape of graphical representation of polynomials depends on the degree of that polynomial. So the highest power of polynomial is the degree of that polynomial. So if you have polynomial p to be equal to a subscript n x raised to the power n plus a subscript n minus 1 x raised to the power n minus 1 plus dot 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 plus a subscript 2 x raised to the power 2 plus a subscript 1 x plus a subscript 0. We can see that the highest power of the value x is n. So the name of this polynomial would be the polynomial of degree n. So the polynomial of degree n. So if we write p1 of x to be equal to a x plus b or a naught, this is polynomial of degree 1. So p2 of x to be equal to a x squared, a subscript 2x squared plus a1x plus a naught. This is degree 2. P3 of x is equal to a subscript 3 x raised to power 3 plus a subscript 2 x raised to power 2 plus a1 multiplied by x plus a naught. This is degree 3. Polynomial of degree 3. And so on till we get to the general form of polynomial. So we shall discuss the shape of graphical representation of polynomial of degree 1, degree 2, and degree 3 in this class. Now, the shape of graphical representation of polynomial of degree 1 is known as straight line. So, graph of polynomial of degree 1. So the shape of graphical representation of polynomial of degree 1 is called straight line. For example of polynomial of degree 1 is p of x is equal to ax plus b. So now the straight line can be of this form, can look like this, or it looks like this. Now the shape, how it looks now depend on the coefficient of x, that is a. If a is greater than 0, then the graph will come up like this. The line will rise up as y and x increases. So we just want to sketch. So if y is equal to ax plus b, so the graph will look like this. This place will be 0, b. And the point, this is the x-intercept, and it will be minus b over a, 0. So here is the y-intercept, and here is the x-intercept. So when a is greater than 0, the line rises as y increases and x increases. So if a is less than 0, so the line decreases as y decreases and x increases. So the polynomial is y is equal to minus ax plus b. So here, this is the y-intercept. So y-intercept will be 0, b. And here is x-intercept. It will be b over a, 0. And recall that a is less than 0. So that is how the shape of graphical representation of polynomial of degree 1 usually look like. So this coefficient of x measures the gradient or the slope of that line. So it is important for us to know how to determine the x-intercept and y-intercept when given any polynomial, especially polynomial of degree 1. So if you want to find the x-intercept of polynomial of degree 1, you put y to be equal to 0. Then you solve the corresponding polynomial. So like this, if you are given y to be equal to ax plus b, and you want to find the x polynomial, so put y to be equal to 0 for x-intercept. Put y to be equal to 0. So if y is equal to 0 is equal to ax plus b. That means ax be equal to minus b. Then make x the subject of the formula is equal to minus b over a. So the x-intercept, that is when the x-intercept will be when that straight line touches the x-axis. So intercept will now be equal to minus b over a, 0. That is x, y. This is the coordinates. Now, determination of y-intercept. So, also, if you want to determine the y-intercept of polynomial of degree 1, you put x to be equal to 0. Y is equal to ax plus b. Put x to be equal to 0. Then solve. Y is equal to a multiplied by 0 plus b. So y is equal to b. So y-intercept will be 0, b. That is, this is for x and y is b. So that is how to find the y and x-intercept. Why are this one important? If you have known the x-intercept and y-intercept, it will be easier for you to sketch the graph of a polynomial of degree 1. That is why it's important for us to know it. And recall that the coefficient of xa determines the gradient. It measures the gradient or slope of that line. Measures the gradient or slope of that line, of that straight line. So for example, sketch each of the following by first finding the slopes and intercept of the axis. 1, y is equal to 2x minus 1. 2, y is equal to minus 3x plus 2. Solution. Y is equal to 2x minus 1. So let M1 be the gradient. And I told you that gradient is also known as slope of the line. So it means, so you have to compare this y is equal to 2x minus 1 with y is equal to ax plus b. So from here, m1, which is gradient, is equal to a and is equal to 2. So m1 is equal to 2, which is greater than 0. So now to find the x-intercept, we put y to be equal to 0, put y to be equal to 0. So 0 is equal to 2x minus 1. So we can rewrite it. 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. So 2x is equal to 1. X is equal to 1 over 2. So x-intercept will be 1 over 2, 0. So for y-intercept, put x to be equal to 0. So y is equal to 2x minus 1. So put x to be equal to 0. So wherever you see x, you are going to put 0 is equal to 2 multiplied by 0 minus 1. Y is equal to minus 1. So y-intercept will be 0, minus 1. So let's sketch. So having known all this, the slope of the line, the x-intercept, y-intercept, we can quickly sketch the graph of this polynomial of degree 1. So since a is greater than 0, we should know that the graph must be in form of this one. It must look up. So now let's sketch. Here is an x-axis, positive x-axis, and here is negative x-axis. Here is positive y-axis, and here is negative y-axis. Here is the center. So when x is equal to 1 over 2, y is equal to 0. So from here, it's positive, so we can just mark any points. So when x is equal to 0, y is equal to minus 1, so it's negative. So let's just pick anything since we are just sketching. So it is not necessary for it to be perfect now. So this is how it looks. So we can now say that this is y is equal to 2x minus 1. So since 2 is greater than 0. So here is x-intercept, which is 1 over 2, 0. And here is y-intercept, which is 0, minus 1. So that is how to sketch polynomial of degree 1. So number 2, which says y is equal to minus 3x plus 2. Here we can see that the slope m2 is equal to minus 3 and is less than 0. So the x-intercept when y is equal to 0, so 0 is equal to minus 3x plus 2. So 3x is equal to 2. X is equal to 2 over 3. So x-intercept will be 2 over 3, 0. Y-intercept, that is when x is equal to 0, y will be equal to minus 3 multiplied by 0 plus 2. So y is equal to 2. So x-intercept 0, 2. So let's sketch. Since we've known that the slope is less than 0, so we know that it must looks like this. So this is x positive, x negative, x positive, y and negative y. So when y is equal to 0, x is equal to 2 over 3. So 2 over 3 will be somewhere around it's positive. When x is equal to 0, y is equal to 2. So y will be around this place. Let's take this in. So then we have to join it together. So let's take a sketching. Can you see? Sketching. So here is X-Intercepts, and X-Intercept is 2 over 3, 0. Here is Y-Intercept, and it's 0, 2. And the polynomial is y is equal to minus 3x plus 2, where the slope is equal to minus 3 and it is less than 0. So that's how to sketch the graph of a polynomial of degree 1. So let's go to how to sketch or how the graph of polynomial of degree 2 looks. So the graph of polynomial of degree 2. The polynomial of degree 2 is usually in the form of y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, where a must not be equal to 0. And the graph is called parabola. So the graph of polynomials of degree 2 is called parabola. So parabola has two shapes. So it's like U shape. It's either it looks up or it looks down. So this shape of this graph of parabola depends on the coefficients of x squared, which is a. When a is greater than 0, the U shape looks up. When a is less than 0, it looks down. So the minimum points occur when a is greater than 0. So here is the minimum point. And when a is less than 0, maximum points occurs. X-intercept. So to find the x-intercept of polynomial of degree 2, put y to be equal to 0. Put y to be equal to 0 and solve the corresponding equation. So put y to be equal to 0. That means you are going to have ax squared plus bx plus c to be equal to 0. So you are going to have two solutions. So the values of x gotten are called the zero of polynomials. So for y-intercept, to find y-intercept, put x to be equal to 0. That means y will be equal to c. So y is equal to c. Now turning points. I defined the turning point when we were dealing with quadratic equation. So the turning point is the points where the curve changes position. So when a is greater than 0, the turning point will be minimum points. Exactly the point where this curve changes its direction. So when a is less than 0, the turning point will be maximum. Exactly the point where the curve changes its direction. So you have to know that one also. And its turning point occurs when x is equal to minus b over 2a. And when y is equal to 4ac minus b squared over 4a. So I've made videos on that one. Please go and watch it. So it's the completing the square method that we use to derive these equations. So make sure you watch it. So let's solve example for us to know how to quickly sketch the graph of parabola, and that is the polynomials of degree 2. Sketch each of the following showing the intercepts and the turning point. Solution. So the first one, y is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 3. So the first thing that we need to observe here is the coefficient of x squared. And the coefficient of x squared a is 1. So we can see that the a is greater than 0. That means our graph should look like this. The U shape will look up. That is when a is greater than 0. Since a is positive, so the U shape will look up. Now, after that one, we have known that one. So to find the intercept, to find x-intercept, put y be equal to 0 for x-intercept. Now, so x squared plus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. So we need to solve the equation now. So multiply the coefficient of x, which is 1, by the constant, which is minus 3. So we have minus 3. So look for two factors of minus 3 that when you multiply and when you add together, you must get plus 2. So, and factors of minus 3 will be plus or minus 1 and plus or minus 3. So when we take minus 1 and plus 3, we add it together, it's going to give us plus 2. So minus 1 multiplied by plus 3 will give us minus 3. So these are the factors that we need. So x squared minus x plus 3x minus 3 is equal to 0. So factorize x out, we have x minus 1. Factorize 3 plus 3 out, we have x minus 1 is equal to 0. So the factors will be x. The factors of this polynomial will be x plus 3 multiplied by x minus 1 is equal to 0. So to find the 0 of the polynomial, we'll have say that x plus 3 is equal to 0 or x minus 1 is equal to 0. So x is equal to minus 3 or x is equal to 1. So the x-intercept will now be equal to, I told you that we are going to have two solutions. So 1, 0, you know, we said that you have to put y to be equal to 0 and minus 3, 0. So to find the y-intercept, put x to be equal to 0. Put x to be equal to 0. So if you put x to be equal to 0 from this equation, y is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 3. So put x to be equal to 0. So y will be equal to 0 plus 0 minus 3. So y is equal to minus 3. So the y-intercept will be 0, minus 3. So to sketch it, this is the positive y axis, and here is the negative y axis. Here is the positive x axis, and here is the negative x axis. So when x is equal to 0, y is equal to minus 3. X 0, y minus 3 will be somewhere around this place. You know, we are just sketching. So when x is equal to 1, positive 1, y is equal to 0 will be around this place. When x is equal to minus 3, y is equal to 0. So it will be somewhere around this place. So we have to join the 3 points together. Join the 3 points together. So we are just sketching here. Here will be 1, 0. Here will be, this is the y-intercept 0, minus 3. And here will be minus 3, 0. So that's how to sketch. You know, we're just sketching. So number 2, B, y is equal to 8 minus 2x. Okay, they ask us to find the turning point also. So the turning point will occur when turning point, that is the minimum point, because this one a is greater than 0. So the turning point, which is minimum point, occurs when x is equal to minus b over 2a. And from this equation, or from this polynomial, b is equal to 2. So minus 2 over 2 multiplied by a is 1. Multiplied by 1, so it's equal to minus 2 over 2, which is equal to minus 1. So x is 1. So the minimum of y, value of y, let's use this formula, will be equal to 4ac minus b squared over 4a, so that will not waste time. So here a is equal to 1, c is minus 3, then b is 2, and square it over 4 multiplied by 1. So this is equal to minus 12. Then for 2 squared is 4, so and minus 2, minus 4 over 4. So this one gives minus 16 over 4. So the minimum of y, minimum value of y be equal to minus 4. So now say that the turning point, let's write it here. Turning point, that is the minimum point, now be equal to minus 1 comma minus 4. That is a is greater than 0, when a is greater than 0. So we are done with that one. So let's solve the questions. B, y is equal to 8 minus 2x minus x squared. So if you look at this one very well, we compare it with y is equal to a x squared plus b x plus c. You can see that a is equal to minus 1. The coefficient of a is minus 1. That means the graph will look down. The U-shape will look down. That is when a is less than 0. Now to find the x-intercept, puts y to be equal to 0 and solve the corresponding equation. So 8 minus 2x minus x squared is equal to 0. So if you multiply the coefficient of x squared by the constant, which is plus 8, we're going to have minus 8. So look for 2 factors of minus 8. If you add the 2 factors together, you must have minus 2. So that will be minus 4 plus 2. If you multiply minus 4 and 2, you are going to get minus 8. If you add minus 4 plus 2, you are going to get minus 2. So 8 minus 4x plus 2x minus x squared is equal to 0. Factorize it 4 out. 4, then we have 2 minus x. Then factorize x out, a plus x plus x. Then we have 2 minus x is equal to 0. So the factors of this polynomial will now be equal to 4 plus x multiplied by 2 minus x is equal to 0. So the zeros of this polynomial will now be equal to 4 plus x will be equal to 0, and 2 minus x is equal to 0. So x will be equal to minus 4. Then x will be equal to 2. So the x-intercept will be equal to minus 4, 0 and 2, 0. So for y-intercept, put x to be equal to 0. Put x to be equal to 0. So if you put x to be equal to 0, that means y will be equal to 8. So y-intercept will now be equal to 0, 8. So the turning points will be maximum point, because a is less than 0. And the maximum point occurs when x is equal to minus b over 2a. So from this polynomial, a is minus 1, b is minus 2, and c is equal to 8. So wherever we see b here, we're going to put minus 2. So minus 2 divided by 2 multiplied by minus 1 is equal to 2 over minus 2, and is equal to minus 1. So the maximum value of y occurs when we have 4ac minus b squared over 4a. So a is minus 1, c is 8, minus b is minus 2, then squared over 4 multiplied by minus 1. So meaning maximum value of y, will be equal to 4 multiplied by minus 1 is minus 4. Minus 4 multiplied by 8 is minus 32. Minus 32. Minus 2 squared is 4. Then there's minus there, so minus 4 over 4 multiplied by minus 1 is minus 4. So minus 32 minus 4 is minus 36. Minus 36 divided by minus 4. Minus cancel, minus 4 here, 1, 4 in 36 is 9. So the maximum points, or you can easily say the turning points, the maximum points of this polynomial, the maximum points will be equal to minus 1, 4. So to sketch this graph, you are going to need those points. So the turning points, when a is less than 0, is the maximum point. Maximum point. And it occurs when we have minus 1, 9. So to sketch the graph, we need all these points. Here is positive y-axis. Here is positive x-axis. Here is negative x-axis. And here is negative y-axis. So let's start from x-intercepts. So we have when x is equal to minus 4, y is equal to 0. So it will be somewhere around this place. We are just sketching. So when x is equal to 2, y is equal to 0, it will be somewhere around this place. So for y-intercepts, when x is equal to 0, y is equal to 8, it will be somewhere around this place. For maximum points, when x is equal to minus 1, around this place, x minus 1, y is 9. So you trace it up to look for where y can be equal to 9. So it will be somewhere around this place. So you are going to join all the points together. So can you see? So this is y is equal to 8 minus 2x minus x squared. So here is the maximum point minus y 1,9 minus 1,9. Here is one of the x-intercepts minus 4,0. Here is another x-intercept which is 2,0. Here is y-intercepts which is 0,8. So can you see? So that's how to sketch the polynomial of degree 2. So I don't want us to have too much video, so I will do the polynomial of degree 3 in another video. So till I see you in that video, thank you and God bless you. Bye bye.